We begin with the survivor, who awakens in a hibernation pod built by MECO, a biotechnology research institute, to an automated greeting, informing her that she's currently on the surface of a planet called Kepler-Earth, originally Kepler 73b, so named due to its discovery using the Kepler Space Telescope before the remnants of humanity immigrated to it, prompted by the Earth being destroyed due to a series of natural disasters. The survivor hears a faint voice calling for help, leading her to venture outside the MECO base to investigate. Finding a damaged robot designated WM69, she reactivates it, and it plays a recorded holographic projection of a past incident showing Danny, the former base occupant, returning from another day of scouting for supplies with WM69. Suddenly, they're attacked by two mysterious figures emerging from a portal, a man in black and a man in white, who capture Danny, attack WM69, and escape using an orb-shaped device to reopen the portal. WM69 explains that it was created by MECO, which Black and White also work for, but was scrapped due to malfunctioning before Danny found, repaired, and befriended it. Seeking to rescue Danny, WM69 requests assistance from the survivor as its combat function has been disabled due to the damage it sustained. In exchange, WM69 gives the survivor Danny's portal keycard, which grants access to any of the MECO portal devices scattered throughout the planet, allowing instant teleportation between them once activated. It also allows travel to the laboratory of Matthew Shipp, a scientist orc and Earth emigrant who Danny would scavenge materials for, located in fifth-dimensional space, an alternate dimension safe from the dangers of the planet. Teleporting to Shipp's lab, the survivor explains the situation to him, before he informs her that the planet is very dangerous due to MECO's creation of the countless number of hostile, genetically modified creatures which inhabit the surface and underground. Shipp offers the survivor the same deal he had with Danny, where in exchange for providing materials and helping him complete his spacecraft, he'll allow her to accompany him aboard it when he leaves the planet, with the goal of returning to Earth and staying there if it's now safe to inhabit. After accepting Shipp's terms, he directs the survivor to his technology foundry, a machine which is able to analyze gene balls, the brain-like data storage devices of synthetic life forms, and manufacture technological components based on them using supplied materials. She also learns about Tenergy, a MECO-created atomic restructuring energy technology which creates energy by breaking down the chemical bonds of metals before storing it in Tenergy reaction cores, which are used to power all of MECO's facilities, among other things. Fragments of these Tenergy cores, called Tenergy shards, have become used as currency for the trading of supplies throughout the planet and in Shipp's lab. Returning to the planet's surface, the survivor begins exploring, gathering building resources, and fighting with the planet's hostile creatures, all while scavenging materials. Having made sufficient improvements to herself in the base, establishing a self-renewing source of food from the planted crops and livestock, along with security against invaders, as well as equipping suitable weapons and armor, the survivor begins hunting down Shipp's gene ball targets. The first target is the mutant Parasiter, located in the infected village on the planet's surface, which she manages to kill, obtaining the Parasiter gene ball. Returning to Shipp's lab, the survivor examines the replica incubator, a large capsule tank, learning that it's used to produce replicas, which are humanoid synthetic life forms created from combining materials with gene module components. Placing the Parasiter gene ball into the foundry, its analysis reveals the details of parasect cells, infinitely regenerating stem cells developed by MECO, which can be implemented to strengthen the spacecraft's frames and shell. The second target is the Goblin King, who rules over the other goblins, residing within the Goblin Village in the underground area just below the planet's surface. Slaying him and returning to Shipp's lab with the Goblin Gene Ball, the Foundry's analysis reveals their unique steel forging technique, which combines bone powder during the smelting process in order to improve the steel's toughness, meaning that a metal coating strong enough to withstand the rigors of space can be made for the spacecraft's turbines and pipes. The third target, the Insector Queen, dwells inside the Insector Nest, deeper underground than the Goblin Village. Exterminating the infestation and bringing the Insector gene ball back to the Foundry, it identifies the Insectors as having bodily fluid which combines with parasect cells to form stabilized, infinitely self-repairing structures, giving the spacecraft an infinite service life if used to create its circuits and pipes. The fourth target, the Ground Captain, is located even deeper underground in the Grounder base. Cutting through the surrounding Grounder forces and dispatching the Ground Captain, the survivor afterward inserts his gene ball into the Foundry, which identifies the Grounders as utilizing the fruits of amber plants as a power source, created from alpha particles, also present in space, meaning they'll grow there while powering the spacecraft's backup engine. The fifth target, Black, who's revealed to be called Divil, requires the survivor to journey farther underground still, to the MECO Biotech Research Institute. After entering a portal at the center of MECO, which leads to another area within fifth-dimensional space, and defeating Divil, whose appearance and weapons are revealed to be identical to Danny's, the survivor returns the gene ball to the Foundry, producing results regarding Meko biotechnology, which improves upon the Insector fusion technology, further stabilizing the spacecraft's components. From the data, the survivor creates a Meko biotech foundry, which she then uses to craft a Meko shelter entrance orb, the same device originally used by the sixth and final target, White, revealed to be called V, to create a portal after capturing Danny. Using the orb to create her own portal to the Meko shelter, again located in fifth-dimensional space, and arriving at V's lab, the survivor sees him standing over Divil's unconscious body, somehow undamaged. After destroying the machine turrets he's controlling from inside the lab, causing his control panel to explode, destroying his right arm, damaging his mask and head, which causes his gene ball to fall on the floor, and disabling the lab door's barrier, the survivor confronts him, realizing that he's identical in appearance to Ship. Disoriented and confused from the trauma, he teleports away before the survivor picks up his gene ball and examines Divil's body, which is lifeless without any vital signs. After returning V's gene ball to the foundry, it uses the data to explain Meko-Tenergy, which Ship states is of no interest to him as it's already his specialized expertise, before handing the survivor the blueprint for the final component needed to complete the spacecraft, the main engine, designated as the Marco WD-35 warp drive. Using the foundry once more, the survivor creates a Meko-Tenergy foundry, which she subsequently uses, in combination with the blueprint and Meko materials, to manufacture the warp drive, before returning it to Ship, who proceeds to install it before asking her to follow him through the spacecraft's entrance portal to assist him in completing the pre-flight checklist. Upon interacting with the portal, intending to enter the spacecraft, the survivor's consciousness is instead transferred to a location where she meets the consciousness of Richard Marco, founder of Meko, who explains that the spacecraft is really a machine designed to connect her to him. He reveals that she's not human, but rather a replica, who also has a gene ball within herself, created by him along with millions of others, including all of the creatures that she's encountered on the planet. This process has taken place over thousands of years in order to sufficiently increase the capacity of a gene ball, which can only be done by evolving it through living, learning, and fighting, with the ultimate goal of being able to house Marco's complete consciousness, made up of his vast knowledge and memory. The survivor is the culmination of all this effort, the first perfect replica, and Marco plans to eliminate her consciousness, allowing him to inhabit her gene ball, taking over her body, which will allow him to live in and fully experience the world he's recreated. Marco explains that everything first began in 2012, when his wife, Danny, died giving birth to their son, Matthew, shortly before the discovery of Keplerth. Matthew was diagnosed with congenital liver cancer, leading Marco, then owner of Marco Company, which specialized in DNA research, to invest in a company called Prandic Lab, an international research team which succeeded in creating a genetically modified creature by combining human stem cells with a pig embryo, with the goal of using their experiments to create a suitable replacement organ for Matthew. While working publicly with Prandic, and privately with Chinese scientific research institutes, greatly advancing genetic modification technology, the experiments began to draw global attention. As a countermeasure, Marco secretly developed projects which were able to trigger seemingly natural disasters, such as wildfires, volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes, which he combined with a doomsday prophecy social media campaign to distract and incite panic in the public. Matthew's condition worsened, resulting in his death, infuriating Marco, who vowed to significantly and permanently change the Earth, completely remaking it into his own eternal planet with an everlasting ecosystem, devoid of humanity, which followed only his commands, without land divided into states or countries, and without legal, moral, or secular constraints on scientific advancement. Marco developed technology to track and store data of nearly every human on Earth, along with finally completing the genetic treatment technology that would have saved Matthew, and creating the gene drive, a 60 billion terabyte hard drive with a storage life of up to several thousand years by utilizing DNA storage technology, which would later be implemented to create the gene balls. Marco then used the gene drive technology to transfer his consciousness into the machine, granting him immortality, while still allowing him to secretly control the company, which went on to create spacecrafts with curvature drive engines and cryogenic hibernation pods, allowing humans to travel massive distances through space relatively quickly and while aging minimally. Marco continued to trigger natural disasters until the Earth became uninhabitable, ultimately resulting in the launching of 12 Marco Ark spacecrafts, ostensibly bound for Keplerth, which were only able to carry a small fraction of Earth's total population. Marco reveals to the survivor that after the passengers entered the Marco Ark's hibernation pods, he used them as additional test subjects for his experiments. The spacecrafts never left Earth's orbit, as he had no intention of allowing humanity to even survive, much less transporting them to Keplerth, meaning that the planet the survivor has been on this entire time is Earth. After humanity's extinction, Marco ceased causing the natural disasters, assisting Earth's ecosystem in recovering over several millennia, while he continued performing genetic experiments by producing replicas using the vast amounts of data he had acquired, creating the entire civilizations on the surface and within the many now underground layers of the planet caused by the natural disasters. He also explains that he created genetically modified replicas of his wife and son, bringing them back to life and reuniting with them in his own way, with Danny and Divil both being iterations of Danny replicas, along with Ship and V both being iterations of Matthew replicas, all having their gene ball data extracted and stored over the years. Finally, Marco attacks the Survivor, and after an intense battle, the Survivor manages to defeat him, destroying his consciousness, leaving only the husk of the Soul Jar, his massive gene drive. Afterward, the Survivor regains consciousness, waking up back in her body at Ship's lab, where he begins complaining about the non-functional spacecraft. Choosing to comfort him for the time being instead of overwhelming him with her newly learned revelations, she vows to keep working with him in order to ensure their continued survival.